By the time you realize you won't make it through this winter the same as everyone else, it's already too late to fix it. The cold has marked you, and nothing you explain will change how you're counted. You wake up, and the cold is already inside the house. Not outside, not waiting. Inside. It tightens your chest before you move. It decides how slowly you rise, and today, it decides whether you are still worth keeping warm. In the Viking world, winter was not a season you endured. It was a filter that removed people without ceremony. Most people imagine Viking winter as atmosphere, snow, firelight, shared hardship. That belief is comforting, and it gets people killed. Winter was not something survived together. It was something that quietly sorted everyone apart, because the cold never treated people equally. Inside the Longhouse, no one speaks at first. Not from respect, from assessment. Sound burns energy. Movement spends strength, and strength is already being measured. The fire has collapsed into embers, not from neglect, from decision. Every piece of wood burned today belongs to a problem tomorrow. Burn too much now, and someone pays later. Morning arrives without proof. The sun exists, but it no longer matters. Time isn't tracked by light anymore. It's tracked by hunger, by stiffness, by how long someone waits before standing. Children do not run in winter. They learn stillness before courage. The myth says Vikings raised fearless warriors. The reality is harsher. They raised people who learned how not to be noticed when resources thinned. This is where the legend starts to fail. Vikings are remembered as raiders. Winter traps them. No voyages, no battles, no escape. Just closeness. Too many bodies, too little warmth, too much memory. Food is eaten without pleasure. Dried meat. Grain stretched past honesty. What tastes like nothing still matters. Hunger doesn't announce itself. It settles in and stays. And this is where it becomes permanent. Winter is long. Patience ends early. Someone remembers an old promise. Someone notices who reaches first. Someone realizes the same people always sit closest to the fire. No one says anything. They don't have to. What follows is quieter. And worse. Work continues through winter. But it isn't about results. Hands mend nets that won't touch water. Tools are sharpened for fields that don't exist. This isn't preparation. It's containment. Busy hands keep dangerous thoughts from forming. And this is where winter turns social. Because everyone can see who still produces and who doesn't. A man who drops tools is noted. A woman who rests too long is remembered. A body that slows becomes a calculation. No accusations, no explanations, just fewer offers of help, longer looks, shorter patience. This is where you stop being protected. Winter doesn't need laws, it enforces them silently. The sagas talk about fate as thunder, gods, declarations, destiny. Winter teaches a smaller truth. Fate is a leaking roof, spoiled grain, animals that don't wake, and whether someone becomes excess. This is the rule never spoken. In winter, usefulness is permission. Those who contribute are tolerated. Those who slow are observed. This was not written anywhere, but everyone learns it the same way. You watch what happens to the first person who falls behind. Not dramatically, not publicly. They miss one task, then another. No one corrects them, no one replaces them. The work simply stops waiting. Meals continue, but portions shift. A thumb with less bread. A ladle that never quite fills. No one announces the change. That would invite debate. Instead, everyone notices, and everyone adjusts. The lesson spreads without a voice. Work harder, speak less, disappear sooner. This is when people stop asking why. Because the punishment is not removal. It's isolation while remaining visible. You are still there, still breathing, still cold, but no longer counted in plans, no longer included in worry. And watching this happen does something worse than fear. It teaches everyone else how to survive by imitation. Movements become careful. Rest becomes hidden. Pain is swallowed until it damages something permanent. No one wants to be the next example. So the system no longer needs to choose. People choose for it. The elderly speak less now, not because they lack wisdom, because attention costs something, and winter notices who consumes too much of it. No one is forced out. That would require courage. Instead, tasks stop arriving. Portions shrink without explanation. Conversations move away. Cruelty isn't declared. It's applied gently until resistance feels unreasonable. And this is where it becomes dangerous. Because once someone is unnecessary, every hardship gains a solution. If food runs low, the cut is obvious. If labor tightens, complaints lose value. If illness spreads, absence becomes acceptable. Winter teaches this thinking without ever saying it aloud. And then another belief breaks. People think obedience protects them, that silence buys safety. But silence only sharpens the measure. Because those who never speak never defend their value. They wait to be noticed. And winter notices late. By the time you are questioned, the decision is already made. Outside, daylight never commits. It hovers weakly, like a promise that forgot its purpose. Someone steps into the cold. It answers immediately. Sharp, personal, nothing heroic about it. Tracks in the snow are counted, not from curiosity, from fear. Wolves come closer in winter. So do desperate people. Hunger erodes loyalty faster than anger ever could. This is where belief changes. Vikings believed the gods watched them, that ancestors listened. Winter introduces a darker question. What if the gods are cold too? What if they're waiting to see who lasts? Offerings become careful. Faith becomes efficient. Whispers replace songs. As darkness settles, which is most of the day, the Longhouse tightens. Smoke lingers, eyes adjust. Stories are still told, but not the glorious ones. Those belong to surplus. Now the stories are warnings. Names of those who didn't survive earlier winters. Children listen and learn the rule that matters. Survival is conditional. The fire dims again. Someone coughs. Illness in winter isn't feared for pain. It's feared for timing. Sick bodies consume more, heal slower. Mercy becomes expensive. And this is worse than punishment. Not fear of dying, fear of becoming unnecessary. Sleep comes layered. Bodies arranged for efficiency. Warmth shared without comfort. Intimacy without romance. Survival without relief. Dreams sharpen in the cold. The mind goes where the body cannot. Summers grow brighter, futures thin. Outside, the wind moves like something searching. It finds every weakness, every gap, every doubt. By the time morning returns, nothing is better. And that is the real test. Winter is not one hard day. It is the same hard day repeated until someone breaks. This was Viking winter. Not a backdrop for legend. A system that measured human value slowly. Strength was quiet. Bravery was restraint. Honor was knowing when not to ask. And when spring finally comes, the survivors will speak of endurance, of favor, of survival. They will not speak of the silences, or the calculations, or the moments when staying alive meant looking away. But winter remembers. It always does.